Welcome to the Wild Planet HD channel. Our episode today is all about the remarkable Border Collie, a breed that's, often called the absolute genius of the dog world. Is this the most intelligent dog breed in the world? Now, that is a huge claim, right? But it's not just hype. It's actually one that's backed by a ton of researchers and canine experts who consistently rank them right at the top. So today, we're going to dive in and see for ourselves what makes this breed so incredibly smart. So, where does all that brainpower come from? Well, a huge part of it isn't just about, solving puzzles. It's about the sheer, undeniable presence. And nothing shows that off more than their most legendary tool, this powerful, almost hypnotic stare they call the eye. It's this incredibly intense, direct gaze they use to control livestock. I mean, we're talking about moving an entire flock of sheep without making a single sound. It's amazing. But, of course, that kind of intensity and intelligence doesn't just pop into existence. To really get a handle on this breed's incredible mind, we've got to go way back to its rugged birthplace along the Anglo-Scottish border. This is a place where the tough landscape itself literally forged the dog we know today. Okay, so the breed's identity really took shape over a few super important decades. It all kicked off in the late 1800s, but a huge turning point happened in 1893 with the birth of a dog named Old Hemp. We'll talk more about him in a sec. Then you fast forward to 1915, and that's when the name Border Collie is officially created, mostly to separate these top-tier working dogs from their cousins in the show ring. And then in 1963, another legend, Weston Cap, comes along and really cements that iconic image of the breed that we all recognize. Now, let's talk about Old Hemp, because the influence of this one single dog is just mind-blowing. Born way back in 1893, he's basically the father of the entire modern breed. And get this, he wasn't loud or aggressive at all. Shepherds who worked with him said he was just quiet and powerful. The sheep just got him. They just responded. His unique way of working became the gold standard. And this is the crazy part, almost every single purebred Border Collie alive today can trace its family tree right back to that one dog. And here's another great example of how a breed's ideal gets captured forever. If you ever look at the badge for the International Sheepdog Society, that's the big organization for working sheepdogs, the silhouette you see on there, that's Weston Cap. Born in '63, his classic herding crouch, that low-to-the-ground intense pose, became the emblem for the entire breed. It's the perfect symbol of their focus and their willingness to work. All right, so that's the history that built the dog's amazing brain. But what about what they look like? I bet when I say Border Collie, you've got a very specific picture in your head, right? But the truth is, the reality is way more diverse than you might think. Yeah, most of us jump straight to that classic black and white, rough-coated look, but the actual breed standard is surprisingly flexible. Their coat, for instance, can be smooth or rough, and the colors, oh man, they cover this huge spectrum. Black and white is common, for sure, but you also see tricolor, red, blue merle, lilac, even solid colors. Their eyes can be brown or green, and you'll even sometimes see that cool heterochromia thing, two different colored eyes, especially in the merles. And even their ears can be totally different, from fully pricked up to completely dropped. All this diversity in how they look really points to a huge split in the breed. Think of it like two different paths. On one path, you have the working lines. For these dogs, looks mean nothing. It's all about their herding ability, their instinct, their attitude. Then, on the other path, you've got the show lines. And for them, appearance is everything. It's all about conforming to a specific physical standard. This divide has created two very, very different kinds of Border Collies, and believe me, it's still a hot topic of debate among people who love the breed. Okay, so you take that incredible built-in drive, and you mix it with that genius-level intelligence, and what you get is a dog that has gone on to excel way, way beyond its original job on the farm. I mean, their modern-day resume is just wild. Of course, they're still the best herding dogs on the planet, managing everything from sheep and cattle to chickens and, get this, even ostriches. But that same focus and athletic ability makes them total superstars in dog sports. They just dominate things like agility, flyball, and obedience competitions. Plus, that incredible nose of theirs makes them fantastic tracking and search and rescue dogs. And their intelligence, it's so off the charts that they're constantly being studied by scientists trying to understand how animal minds work. And when we say intelligent, we're not just talking about good boy sit. We're talking about something truly next level. Take a look at these examples. There was a dog named Rico who could recognize 200 different objects by name. Then there was Betsy with a vocabulary of over 300 words. And then there's Chaser. Chaser was a border collie who learned the names of over 1,000 different toys. 1,000. That's not just simple training, folks. That's a genuine vocabulary and a level of reasoning that still has scientists scratching their heads. But, with any animal that's this finely tuned, this much of a high-performance machine, comes a really big responsibility. As an owner, you absolutely have to understand their specific health and wellness needs. So, let's talk about lifespan first. A healthy border collie is a pretty robust dog. In fact, a recent UK study found their average life expectancy is right around 13.1 years. And that's actually a little bit higher than the average for most other dogs, purebred or not, which really just speaks to how generally hardy they are. Now, if we look at some older data from a big survey, we can see what the main health challenges are. It's pretty clear that, like with a lot of breeds, cancer is the biggest concern, accounting for almost a quarter of deaths. After that comes old age at about 18%, and then things like strokes at over 9%. This is really important stuff for any potential owner to know. And just like with a lot of purebreds, there are some specific genetic conditions you need to have on your radar. A few of the big ones are things like Collie eye anomaly, or CEA, which affects the eyes. There's also something called trapped neutrophil syndrome, which messes with the immune system. Then you've got the MDR1 gene mutation. This is a big one. It makes them super sensitive to some common drugs. And finally, there's this really unique thing called Border Collie collapse, which is basically what it sounds like. They collapse after intense exercise. Now, the great news here is that there are DNA tests for a lot of these now, which is exactly why finding a responsible, health-focused breeder is so, so important. And that really brings us to a final, really important question, doesn't it? We have this breed with a mind that was literally forged for the open hills, a dog with this relentless drive to work and this just profound intelligence. So how do we honor that incredible legacy in our modern world, which is so different from those fields where it all began? It's definitely something to think about. I hope you enjoyed our episode and see you in another video.